There is power in personal stories. It connects us, it empowers us, and it holds us accountable. It creates understanding and expands our perspective. This is Big in the Community with Jonathan James at the Kalamazoo Promise, a podcast aimed to highlight local leaders, collaborators, and innovators in the greater Kalamazoo community. Welcome back to another episode of Big in the Community.
Yes, sir.
I'm going to kick us off with a quote, like we always do. Our higher education system is one of the things that makes America exceptional. There's no place else that has the assets that we do when it comes to higher education. People from all over the world aspire to come here and study here, and that is a good thing. And that's former President Barack Obama. So we have an amazing guest here. I'm going to let you introduce yourself. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, your titles, and then Romari, our wonderful community relations intern, will follow up with the next question.
Nice. Well, thank you for having me. Great quote, especially during these times from the Obama. Mm-hmm. My name is Monteze Morales, and I am a mother and educator for over 20 years. Currently, I am the director of the Kalamazoo Promise at Kalamazoo Valley. I also hold another hat where I am a county commissioner for Kalamazoo County, representing District Number 3, which is like Millwood, West Nitch Hill, Bronson Boulevard, stretches a little bit into downtown. And although I am over District 3, the decisions are made fully for Kalamazoo County. So we'll get into that. But I am passionate about learning, helping folks get to the next level. I do educational consulting where I help students come to their level of reading and writing and showing parents innovative ways to stay engaged, whether that's social media, taking their phones away, making them actually read. It amazes me that students do not know how to write in cursive. One of my younger cousins just graduated. He's older to the other younger cousins. And I was like, well, you got to sign your check. And he was like, I did. And I was like, no, you printed. People don't know cursive. So I feel like some of the things in education has been lost, but, I'm excited for what's coming in the future as well.
Nice.
Yeah, I feel that because I copied my signature off of 2K. When the players used to write their signature, I'm like, oh, yeah, I copy Kobe.
I'm not sure. What is
NBA 2K.
Oh,
it's a video game.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
2K11 to be specific.
I spent, I think 4th grade, I was learning my signature, learning all my cursive letters.
Yeah, mine was 3rd grade.
I had the little lines where you had to follow it and do everything. So I don't know if I use it other than my signature now though. So I don't know.
I think sometimes I feel like I write better in cursive. I feel more professional. So it just depends. If I'm in a educational workshop, I might write in cursive so people think I really know what I'm talking about.
You should. See. Until us folks that were born in the 1900s dissolve out.
1900s.
Then I think however you all write, which, with the internet and everything we do on laptops, I don't even know how, when we'll be using these again. Next time I come in, y'all will be like, put your fingerprint on it.
Microchip.
Everything chip. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So the first question, I'm actually going to combine this. So how long have you served in your current role? We know about the Promise, but the commissioner position. And then what was your most effective way you use? You said you do educational consulting. What's been your most effective way to help the generation that's, let's see, my generation from 16 to probably 24? What's effective for us?
And what are you all are y'all X's or millennials?
I have I'm 19. I don't know.
You're probably Gen Z.
A Z?
Nah, I don't think I'm Gen Z.
You gotta be.
I was born in 05. What's that?
All right.
It's not the 1900s.
I'm going to Google this while the conversation is happening. 2009 and up.
Oh, no, those are toddlers.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm sorry. So my role as a commissioner, how long have I been in that role? So it's interesting. In 2020, I decided that I wanted to run for the school board. And the Honorable Stephanie Williams was the commissioner of District 1 at that time, and she was getting ready to run for the state rep seat. So I was like, I'm going to run for a commissioner. School board, how do I do this? And she was like, you don't want to run for school board, that's like a 4 or 8 year term. And then as you try to move up in government, you don't know what will be available to you. And, we need to hear your voice at this table. Mm. So an appointment came up. I lost the appointment. And then the election came. And so it was my first time running grassroots, just trying to re-engage myself with the community. People had knew me from, coaching basketball at Kalamazoo Central for over 12 years. I played at Central. I went to a historically black college and played basketball, came home, had a baby.
Where'd you hoop at, if you don't mind me asking?
Savannah State University.
For real?
I did. I went to a historically black college and found out that, we were just learning the basics of black history. And that was, Martin Luther King, Malcolm X. And, when I went down there, they were like, you don't know who Dubois is? My grandmother went here in 1860 something. I'm like, my grandmother couldn't read and write. My grandmother was a sharecropper. My granddad was a sharecropper. And so that experience, one, taught me, I'm Afro-Latina. That's how I identify. My mom is black. My dad is Puerto Rican. Mm-hmm. And they did a great job in making sure that I knew my roots. On both sides. So we would have like dinners together where it would be like soul frito. So we have our arroz con pollo, our pasteles, but then we gonna have some collard greens, some mac,
okay.
and there's something about the soul of Puerto Rican food that, just makes you happy. I know everybody has their traditional things that they eat at their kitchen table, but that experience and playing basketball for a historically black university that, was built around slave land in Savannah, Georgia. It's hot. I mean, I got the opportunity to see a cotton field for my first time and imagining that slaves were out there doing this. And it's hot in Savannah. Like, it's hot. And, and we're so privileged that we wouldn't even know how to be in that type of heat for 2 hours, let alone dawn to dusk. So I had a wonderful experience there. And then as I'm circling back to the commission seat, I ended up running, and I lost by 25 votes.
Oh, man.
25 votes. And I was like that. I went to bed, and I was in the lead. And when I woke up, they had started absentee ballots, and the absentee ballots won. But the biggest lesson that I got out of that was folks didn't realize how important their vote was specifically at the local level, because we typically jump in during presidential elections, right? And then when it's a 2-year election, we kind of ignore it. And those county seats were running on 2-year. We're switching to 4-year now. So I lost by 25 votes. And then I said, I'm not conceding. I want to recount. So people were in my ear like, Senator McCann did it. And, against this. And, it became kind of like she's whining, a racial thing. And I was like, Senator McCann did it, and y'all put thousands to get it. So it was so crazy. They actually have to go and get all the ballots. Yeah. So there were these like military-sized bags with, I probably had 13,000 people in that district. Wow. Where they had to hand count one by one the ballots, and I lost by 25 votes. Wow. 6 months later, we come back, and the Honorable Zach Bauer who had beat me at that time, has stepped down for another position, and I got in as a reappointment. 6 months later, I got elected to be the vice chair. So all in my freshman year, like, I got appointed, I was running vice chair, which is next to the chair that runs the entire county, right? So I learned so much in that, with the lesson of being delayed but not denied, and putting the work in. And then I came back and I won, as the newspaper said, by a landslide. So it's been a great experience, a great opportunity, and now we're up for elections right now, which whichever way you go. Democracy is crazy. Do it, and do it at the local level, because as those funds get circulated from the congressional level to our U.S. senators down to the state and fiscal into a great community like Kalamazoo, where people come here to find out how we do it, right, on all levels, from economics to housing to education. Like, hands down, Kalamazoo is the best place to make change. So I encourage all of you to get registered to vote. And a lot of, registration is automatic now, but getting your friends out and having souls to the polls parties and actually looking for boards that you can join to make a difference, so that when your voice is at the table, you can make change. And so my biggest takeaway now is that I am at the table. I feel like this.
You
searching
can move
for
it
you.
You can move the whole thing.
Oh, okay. There we go. I feel like I'm searching for you.
Yeah. And you can move it up. You can move this part up to your mouth.
So, when I was doing radio, it was just that. You didn't have all this stuff. But anyway, as you think about the change you want to see, you see it in yourself. And you all are seeing it here at the Kalamazoo Promise with everything that you can do that's student related and educational related to take people to the next level. And right now, that's being compromised. That, if the election goes a certain kind of way, we may not have those liberties to do what we're doing now. And people need to take that into consideration. And I'm saying that to say that when you think about boards, or, say you don't get a raise, it's because your board members, somebody on that board had the vote came out, whether it was unanimous or not, that we didn't want to give y'all raises for whatever reason. So I know y'all are a little younger than me, and you're trying to find what your passion is, but you always want to work, in a capacity where you can make change, where you're not feeling like somebody's compressing you. You want to work where you don't, sometimes they're like, you're just a public servant and you're in education and you're not supposed to make money. And I'm like, you're right.
Who said that?
Who made that up? So as we jump into the spirit of change, prosperity, and y'all Gen Zers and Gen Xers, y'all something else. Y'all come to work today and be like, I don't like you, and don't show up tomorrow. No warning and no anything, where we were kind of groomed to be nervous, and exceed well, where y'all like, I don't like you as a leader. I'm out. So I think I answered most of it.
And how long have you been in?
So since July of 2021.
Okay, that's so right after quarantine.
Yes. Yep, I lost the election in 2020. They did the 6 months, and then, we're still in quarantine.
Wasn't it? Well, yeah.
Yeah, we were, because we were dealing.
End of it, maybe.
Well, no, we were dealing with mass. It was a bunch of crap. We were dealing with mass mandates.
Oh, yeah,
we were not.
Yeah,
we were
my
still
junior
remote.
year, we still had to wear masks.
Yeah,
we're just
remote.
we're trying to minimize how bad it was.
Yeah.
Well, and now on the flip side of that, we are trying to reacclimate your generation into coming and having their bodies in seats at school.
Oh, yeah. It's needed for us.
Yeah,
especially.
It is needed. I do understand that a certain population needs to be at home. They just excel better academically, but then when they come to me, they don't know how to engage. Yeah. When it's time to see their counselor or have that discussion with their professor, they're ill prepared in that manner. And so, we have to do the work in re-grooming them. I mean, everybody wants to be remote, but you're in pajamas all day, and then you kind of forget how to be re-engaged with the community. And I think that's something that we lost during COVID, where people are trying to reignite that. But then there's a certain group of people who are like, nope, I want to be a hermit. I want to be siloed. But it hurts our economy when we do that. Two, it hurts the relationships, because how often do you hate being on the phone and it's a robot? Or,
oh my God,
you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Or you're pressing 50 buttons to get where you need to be. And just imagine if we're all at home and you come to, your college and you want to actually sit and talk to somebody, and then you going into a room and you're looking at a monitor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it definitely affected everybody socially. It's just there's like I would say I felt like an awkwardness coming out of COVID, whereas like I didn't know how to greet people. Like, do I handshake, hug? I don't know if I've hugged anybody since COVID.
Are you for
No,
real?
I'm not serious.
Oh,
but
like for that year,
it changed. Like, it's like, okay, handshake. All right, I'll catch you later. Just like give a little wave. Like
and it's different in the community because I feel like more people got more concerned. But like on college campus, like in 2023 when stuff got full stuff was fully gone. That first year back when everybody was like comfortable, it was like the greatest homecoming ever because it's like the people that want to stay inside are inside, but the people that's outside ain't got on no mask, nothing. Like everybody's just having fun. So it's definitely just both sides, and it just depends on.
It was definitely. I mean, I'm still fist bumping at times, and still really. I caught the worst part of COVID when we didn't know what it was.
I caught that too.
You know, I had it for months. It's still, my respiratory taste smell is still not where it should be even till today. But it was interesting because then they said, okay, get vaccinated. And people would get vaccinated, not wear a mask, but wouldn't shake your hand. And I'd be like, that makes no sense to me that you won't shake my hand, but you don't have on a mask. And then, I saw like more vaccinated people contract COVID again and again and again. So it definitely was a time where, we didn't know what it was. It was a scare. And the fact that we didn't know what it was and people that we love were dying. And I mean, in that first episode of COVID where you couldn't even bury your loved ones, you couldn't say goodbye, just that void. And I actually lost someone and they had to be cremated. And so, and their life was grander. They would always talk about when I die, my funeral going to be, and it was like, you just never know. And a disease, a virus like that really wiped us out and changed the way we moved, changed our thought process, and is really responsible for how we engage with one another to this day, which is responsible for, that remote learning and trying to get, our young adult learners reacclimated into the system because y'all got kind of lazy, behind that computer and
just talking about you.
Zoom.
I'm a millennial. So
I ain't wake up for nothing. I wasn't in class. I open my computer and go back to bed straight up. Like,
we see that in the workplace. Some of those habits are coming, but I can respect y'all gangster on what y'all don't like, and y'all will deuce us out really, really quick. And like I tell my son, who is a scholar, you will not quit a job until that next one start, and your the last check from your last job roll in, and then next week the new one rolling in. You will not be quitting your job without a plan. So far he's done good and keeping a job where he ain't deucing people out, but it's because of the promise and because of partnerships like with WMed that introduced high school students into the medical program and, some of those trades that he likes what he's doing instead of floating around.
That's awesome. So could you share your journey with us and tell us, like, who are you? And you can go back as far as you want. You can skip over stuff, whatever you feel like sharing.
So I'm still learning who I am. I know I am passionate about learning. I love to give. I am from Bridgeport, Connecticut, which is about 45 minutes from New York City. And we lived in a project called Father Panic Village. And as we talk about gun violence in Kalamazoo, and that's what brought me here. My dad got shot, and my mom was like, we getting out of here. Take me to Kalamazoo. My grandfather had already been here. And so I was leaving an environment that was very, very diverse. Dominicans, Puerto Ricans, Cubans, any nationality you could think of. It was like that little melting pot. And then I come to Kalamazoo. And you were either white, black, Asian, or mixed, or Mexican. So I'm coming in. People didn't know what a Puerto Rican was till Fat Joe came out. J-Lo came out. And, of course, I don't look like either of them, right? They're like, well, what are you? So I've always got that question. And so that's why I was pausing when you said, who are you? And it led me to, I just finished my master's program. That took me some time. Thank you. It took me forever, but I did it. And it talks about the art of being mixed race and how you navigate through predominantly white institutions. But originally it was the art of being mixed race when being human isn't enough. Because during that time I wasn't Black enough, I wasn't Puerto Rican enough. They didn't even know what that meant. And my childhood was kind of brutal. You know, I grew up, we lived in Alamo Hills, and then I can't think what it's called now.
I'm blanking out right now.
Hey, what y'all talking about?
You're privileged.
Off of Alamo?
Yes. What was it called? I
The
can't
church?
think. No, it's by Hillside. I can't think of what the new apartments are called. Summer Hill, Somerset,
Fox Ridge.
Fox Ridge.
Yeah.
So I grew up there, and then we moved to the east side, and then we moved to New Horizons. So during that time, I mean, there were folks who kind of looked like me, but my Spanish was different. I went to bilingual programs. I'm KPS homegrown. And they used to sit us, like, silo us in these classrooms. Mm-hmm. So me as a, Afro-Latina, and then I'm in a classroom with migrants. I didn't know what that meant. I didn't know what citizenship meant. I thought we were the same. And I definitely thought Spanish was the same. Mm-hmm. And so I learned quick that it wasn't, that we had different dialects. I mean, I was already dealing with that. I was a New Yorican in Connecticut, and then you're not from the motherland. Like, you don't speak the authentic tongue. Wow. And I'm like, what does it matter? So I'm speaking Spanglish, and I can remember that population, like, dismissing me, like, your Spanish is stupid. We're not talking to you. So just imagine, I'm not going to school with the folks in my neighborhood, right? I'm being bussed out to this bilingual program, and I'm still not being able to be engaged. I look different. I have distinct features. They're like, what's wrong with your eyes? You got bags under your eyes. I'm like, I don't know. Ask my mom and my dad. I don't know why I look like I look. I am. And I was tall. So I was taller than most of my teachers. I mean, I'm shrinking now, but I'm a 5'11" and a half in heels. I'm about 6'4". So, just that intimidating factor where I felt like I had to learn how to protect myself. I had to learn how to be, they thought it was combative, but I'm like, I'm just being passionate, So move through that, get through high school, play basketball, and take the ACT at that time. Waited all year. I took the last test and got a 15. I was like, you needed a 17 back then. So I'm like, where am I going to go? Kentucky State University had recruited me. And so he was like, well, you can come down here and you can redshirt. And I'm like, I'm not, I think I'm the Bronny of females back then. He wasn't in existence, but I think I'm Dawn Staley, right? I'm like, I'm not going nowhere to redshirt. So I end up at a community college in Missouri, and then I end up at Savannah State. And so even there, not being Black enough, like, what are you here? And, I wasn't into Garvey. I wasn't into some of the conversations that predominantly Black educated households were having. My parents were blue-collar workers. It was 2 or 3 jobs. I had a brother and a sister that I was helping take care of. So even through and I knew I wanted to be an educator, so through my journey of education, I went to Savannah State. As we know, funding is iffy. Sometimes they don't get the support that they need. Ended up coming home, having my son, and that's when I decided that I had to go back to school. So I enrolled back at Kalamazoo Valley, went through some programming, graduated, went to Western, pledged the best sorority, Delta Sigma Theta. That's what this brooch is. That's her. And just made some hardcore community connections where people still didn't know how to take me. Like, the intimidation factor. I can't help that I'm almost 6 foot, right? I can't help the way I look. You might not see the smile and the passion in here, but I'm doing the work, and I'm going to take care of people. I'm going to find the resource based on me being in that survival mode. I don't want anybody to ever have to do that. So, through my educational journey, I started at charter school, which was good in the beginning, but then I was like, we can't keep doing direct instruction at 6th grade. Like, cat, what's the word? Cat, spell cat, C-A-T, cat. Like, by the 6th grade, they like, man, nobody want to hear that, you know. So then I said, I don't think, they took me from the 6th grade and put me in 2nd grade. And it was like, you need to learn how to be a nurturer. I was like, I got a whole son. What do you mean? And I'm nursing. He's 18 months. I'm nursing. What do you mean I need to learn how to be a nurturer? And so that's when I decided to go into secondary ed. And so I got my bachelor's degree in English, history, and African studies. And actually, Von Washington's dad was my African-American theater instructor at Western, Dr. Washington. And, I was a good writer, good reader, and we were in class, and he asked me something, and I didn't know what the word was, and he was like, if you don't know the word, you don't know what you're reading. So his practice of saying, get you a thesaurus. My mom always had dictionaries and said, look it up, but the dictionary was this thick, right? So he introduced me into the thesaurus, where now I introduce that into my students. Like, download it on your phone. If you're reading, type it in, find the word that, connects with you so that you know what you're reading, and you'll be able to have a decent conversation and pass these tests. So that led to me doing some internships in the high school, and I was like, yeah, I'm straight on high school. Like, y'all gave me a run for my whole money in the high school sector. And that's how I ended up in post-secondary ed, which KVCC, I've been there for 12 years.
Nice. Congratulations on that.
Thank you.
No, thank you for sharing all that.
Yeah.
That's a lot. I mean, I definitely hear some of the things that, like, you were saying about, like, being mixed and, like, how people see you and they're like, well, what are you?
Human?
Right. Like, I've gotten, like, what kind of brown are you? Like, I still deal with it. Like, we went overseas to Africa, and people thought, like, I was Arab and started speaking to me in different languages. And I was like, sorry, I'm just American.
But that's the beauty of when you go to different countries, or if you go to Puerto Rico, they would just automatically assume that you're Puerto Rican, right? Or that you speak Spanish. Here, we have all these silos with culture and identity, and folks will identify you how they want to. And that was one of the things that I learned in my research as well, that I didn't understand. They'll be like, you just saying you Puerto Rican because you don't want to be black. I'm like, I got a whole black mama. What are you talking about?
Right.
Or, for me, black is beautiful. Black is the beginning and the end of everything. I mean, when geologists look at stuff, it's black culture.
Right.
When you look at fashion, it's in Africa. But even as I'm well-traveled, I lived in France. I lived in Portugal. I lived in Spain. And it's hard to be black for whatever reason. People wanted to be everything but that. So when I lived in Lisbon for a little while, and I asked a young lady that I have a relationship with now, like, well, where are you from? And she was like, I'm Portuguese. I'm like, girl, you look like us. Like, she was cinnamon, had a cinnamon color, hair was like blonde like this. It was really curly. So she wasn't European. Yeah. When we look at, that side, that European is really white. And I'm like, well, where are you from? She was like, well, we're from Cameroon, but, we left and we're refugees, and now I'm Portuguese. And I was just like, how hard it is for us to even try to find our African culture or find culture here in America. Like, my mom, they can go back maybe 3 generations.
Right.
But when I go to Puerto Rico, it's there.
Right.
Like, I know Taino culture. I know that my grandma, they came. I can trace that ship that they lived in. They came off that ship in 1870 or so, and they had that land. They were all born on that land. And so that's the beauty of culture, where on my mom's side, I can go back a couple generations, and that's about it. I don't know where they came from. We did find out a little bit more information about my granddad, but it all went back to Africa. But then in some of the areas, it's still siloed based on your skin color and different things like that. But the beauty of, especially in Arab culture, like, they are gangsta. Like, if you identify as Muslim, it doesn't matter if you white, black, Asian, they will take you in, they will feed you. We are so siloed. We do not take care of each other like, other cultures. We don't even want to live with our parents. I can't get my son to come home.
We get more and more separated the further that we go.
I'm like, come save some money. You're like, nah, I'm going to eat some ramen noodles. I'm like, what? And then you're going to eat ramen noodles and you're going to ask me for a Cash App. Come on.
And then you got our generation who want to stay at home and don't want to leave because we're dependent on y'all.
Well, I think that's getting back to old culture. When you look at, like, we have a heavy refugee population coming in, Hispanic populations in your neighborhoods, if you notice, it's 10 cars outside, right? Puerto Rican culture, it was 10 people in a car. Everybody lived there. So if your mortgage or your rent is $1,000, just imagine if we working and we all live together and just put $100 in, how much money we would be saving. And then we can save for that house and we can pass it on. We so grown, we just want to get out the house real quick, right? And we want to be
American dream.
Please. It's the American debt. This is suicide. You know, when you think of our economy right now, when you think of our houseless generation, when we think of our struggling teens who get out the house and then face those mental issues, you know, mental health issues, you know, moving forward, I think it's good that you're home, you know, that sense of community. And don't nobody want to go to the nursing home. So my expectation is that if you home and then you get on your feet and something happen to mama, that you're going to take care of mama and keep her gardening so that she can still, you know, you look at different cultures, they're living to 100.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
America, the only place people dying by 60.
Well, that's because
That's a whole another conversation.
Yeah. Well, I mean, this diet is, we're lazy. After high school, we're not in sports anymore. You know,
we not outside no more.
There we go.
It's the whole.
We need to be outside.
Did you see that?
It's everything.
That program on Netflix?
What was it called?
Oh, you would ask me.
Sorry.
But it was like, I think it's called The Blue Zone.
Yeah. I
Is
didn't
it
get
the
to
Blue
watch
Zone?
it, but I know the base of it.
Watch that.
Okay.
Watch
huge.
that. Like, my mom is hitting 70, and she still goes out daily. There's a older lady across the street. She got to be older 80s. She's a shiner. Her yard is immaculate. She shovels. She mows her grass. She's in her yard. She's on her knees every day. She's lifting up. She's walking the block. And here I am after work, sitting on the couch watching her, admiring her, knowing I should be outside digging some weeds up.
Tomatoes in town.
We won't even eat our food out our garden. For some reason, we think Meyer tomatoes are better than what we grow. I don't know what was on that fruit outside. I'm like, and you don't know how many hands touch the fruit that sometimes we're a little
shinier. So the next question is, how do you engage with the Kalamazoo community in both of your roles?
Kalamazoo community, as a county commissioner, Kalamazoo County is mine. When you see that sign coming in from Detroit and you hit Kalamazoo County, that's me. When you coming from the Chi, that's me. When you come from Three Rivers, that's me. When you coming from Grand Rapids, that's me. So in my role as commissioner, my job is to make sure that we are budgeting properly, So that fiscal responsibility of making sure that the funds that are coming from the state is taking care of the county. So we just had the tornado, disaster. So we had some extra funding left over, and we said, hey, we're going to give these to these communities and chipped in. So when we talk about the county, under my purview, the treasurer, the sheriff, the judges, prosecuting attorney, the clerk's office. And so all of that funnels through us to make sure that you get what you need, your birth certificate, your county ID, when you go into the courthouse, the fiscal responsibility. And, there's a lot of politics when you come into who gets what. We have millages. K. Reese is on our millage. We have a senior millage. We have a veterans millage, and homeowners get taxed with that. So the middle class is kind of being pinched. So it's my job to make sure that the oversight is spectacular. I mean, when you think of Health and Human Services, county, anything county on it, that's us. So we have to make sure that we properly have nurses in place to, vaccinations, early school, when your kids are doing pre-K and things like that, we want to make sure those budgets come in. So that's the whole Kalamazoo community. With the Kalamazoo Promise in my role with Kalamazoo Valley, it's all things education, and however, as y'all know, however that looks to the student. So when I came in, we were at the 10-year, almost at the 10-year mark. I came in 2014 and started Kalamazoo Promise Services. So they were looking at the research on how can we better support these students who are not getting to the finish line, soaking credits up. How can we better monitor that? And my role was to deal with probation and suspension students. So provided support. At Valley, you can take 7 credits. After you take those 7 credits pass, then we can start tacking on more credits to get you to the finish line. The beauty of the community college is that you can come and go as you please and take classes, but it can also push you out with graduation. So I was happy to see the trades come in. I was happy, you know, and I love the trades, but the thing is you still need some education. I have not seen, you know, a person in the trades that wants to move up in supervisory leadership. A degree is required.
Right.
So I think when, you know, it's good coming out making $18, $19, $20, $24 an hour until you have a baby, till you get married, till you want to expand.
Yeah, get to that next level.
Exactly, until you cap out. And then the next stage to move up is like, oh, you need an associate's degree, or you need that bachelor's degree, or really in a high-level supervisory degree, you need that master's degree to be able to run some things. So, you know, my job is to keep parents abreast and students abreast on what they need to do and how it can make their life better, whatever that looks like for them. So I've been honored to be in this role and, you know, deal with students that come from the same background that I come from, which is KPS. So it's been an experience, and I'm honored to even still be in this role and serve where we've, you know, due to COVID, population has went down a little bit as far as enrollment, but I think we're getting back up. And within these 10 years when the Kalamazoo Promise, when Bob Dorff came and said, we want to make a difference, we see an uptick in graduation rates, people securing certificates, people coming back and transferring. So the Kalamazoo Promise is the gift. You know, if you use it to your advantage, it's going to work for you. And even if not, you know, you have the beauty of the 10 years, you know, because some folks aren't ready at 18.
That grace period.
Yeah, that grace period.
I needed that.
To get your life back, you know, and say, you know what, dang, I still got 100 credits. What can I do with this? So it's definitely a blessing. And I have had conversations with folks who are trying to do promises. Alabama Promise came up and talked to us. Philadelphia Promise, San Francisco Promise, to see how we do it here. Like, it's one thing for, you know, and I'm so excited about the new programming that y'all have housed in this building. Mails of Promise, FAFSA nights, things that weren't in place 10 years ago that help kind of, you know, knock those challenges out the way. So when you make that tangible handoff for us, we can just handle business on the education side.
There is a lot more stuff in place now from like when I went to school. It is amazing seeing that. But so why do you think it's important to have like support systems for scholars in their post-secondary journey?
I mean, I was in an era where it was liberal arts. You could kind of do what you want to do. And I think that's what led to folks kind of running through their credits. So it's important that we have these conversations with the college going culture in Kalamazoo, where we have those touch points. When I was at Western Michigan University, I was the one who authored Bronco Buds for all the 6th graders to come and have that visit. That was part of my master's program, one of my assignments that I had to do. And I think that when I grew up in Kalamazoo, I didn't know Valley was here. I didn't know Western was here, and it was right up the street, right? I didn't touch Western's campus until the 7th grade for Upward Bound, and then again through basketball. And I think that unless your parents are engaged in the college culture, I wasn't going to baseball games or basketball games unless it was like in the hood, right? And so having those support systems in place helps to knock off some of those challenges, especially like how and I think the design that our partnership has at the Kalamazoo Promise, you come in, you fill out your app. Like I was scanning the SAFs to Amy and Bob 10 years ago. We were scanning applications and waiting, and now You know, Perla does a wonderful job. I get this award roster and it comes right to my report. And I'm like, okay, we have these people. Now I have a coordinator because it was just me handling those 600 students until about 2019. And now I have a full staff. Now I can say to my coordinator, these are these students, get them on the phone, see if we can get them at orientation, see if, you know, we can provide a visit. Once they're in our presence, then we can have them go see their counselor, their advisor, introduce them to the resources. If you are not following us, we are Kalamazoo Promise Services on Insta. We have daily uploads from 5 things you need to know to how to be successful. You know, we have those intense conversations. And because I was first gen too, right? My mom and dad had a little bit of college. Nobody was having that conversation with me. Nobody told me about the difference between a drop and a withdrawal, right? Nobody said, yeah, it won't hurt your GPA, but they ain't say you still might have to pay this money back, right? You know what I'm saying? You know, so now I'm able to have a conversation. Like right now, we always talk about high and low vibrations. When you walk in the classroom, you know if you like that professor or not, right? If you got a professor that says by no means necessary, or do I give extra credit or accept late work, you probably want to get out that class if you're a procrastinator. So we have those real conversations. If you don't like going to an 8 a.m. class, then don't pick one. If your life starts at 11 o'clock, then you should go to school at 12, right? And if you don't have a vehicle, sleep until 10 to get there on time. Like, so we do time management and introduce them on how to build relationships specifically with their instructors. Like, I can only say so much, but it's like dropping your kid off to daycare. Who they spend the most time with? Their teachers, right? So I'm like, you got the next 12 weeks to get your life. And in midterm time, we know what time it is, right? If we need to get that W on there before it turns into an I. But we have seen a turnaround because of the support services, because of the programming that y'all are doing now, where after they come from a Men's of Promise events, they're the motivated or not, right? We're like, nah, I still want to be at Club Target on the weekend. I'm not. I think I'm cool because I know y'all little spots. So when they come, in my office on a Monday morning, I'm like, oh, you did Club Target this weekend? They like, what?
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah. So, no, I think it's important, and it builds community, it builds confidence, and it builds trust. That because some people will just skip over education, but we really do need it.
I think just for sake of time, I think we'll skip to number 7.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
Okay, cool.
I'm talking too
No,
much.
you're good. No, it's all good stuff.
Yeah, because number 6 we already kind of talked about.
Okay.
It. So, if you had the power to transform the Kalamazoo community in any way, what would you do? The most money in the world, the highest position. What would you do?
Think big.
Money doesn't change. I mean, money can change, but if you don't know how to manage money and you don't have the right folks on board, I mean, look at the promise. How many folks are not utilizing it, right? How much money do we have banked in perpetuity from 2006 to 2016, scholars that didn't use it, right? So you can have all the money you want. If you don't have the right people at the table, if you don't have the right vision, and nobody is typically born with that. I wasn't born with this mentality, right? It took some ebb and flows. It took some changes. And I think my role on the county board of commissioners, where I learned who the stakeholders were that can say yay or nay. You know, I put myself in on the other side to be like, dang, what if it was me? What would I do with this? So I don't know, if I had all the money, I would be like, you debt free, you're debt free. And here goes a chunk of change. But for some, even in doing that, when we give them that chunk of change, they're not going to be debt free. They're going to find a way to not be debt free. I think I would find a way to invest that money into housing where none of our rent would ever go up, or none of our mortgages would go up because it's covered, right? So that we could be sustainable. I don't believe in handouts, but I do believe that people need a different source to be able to thrive. And I think that's my biggest lesson with, I don't have $50 million, but I see $50 million through Kalamazoo County. I don't have long perpetuity money, right? But
Right.
we see it, right? We know that this money is in perpetuity, and we just got to get people to come in and take good advantage. How they say, good trouble, good advantage of what this money is offering, so that in 10 years you straight, in 20 years you straight. So I would reinvest in our education system, because they don't teach us how to manage money. You know, they teach us how to work for people. And even in the college sector, people are like, I want to get a business degree. And I'm like, why? Because I'm the only one that got to listen to somebody. So I'll take them and I'll show them how to get an EIN. I'll give them $10 to go to the county to get registered. And I say, your first $150, go get a LLC. Now you're a business owner. Now what? You know,
There's more to it.
There is more to it. So I think reinvesting in an education system where we are teaching folks how to manage money, how to invest money, and we're not 20, 22, 25, and 30 learning the importance of what type of investment you invest in. They'll teach us 401k and all that stuff, but you got to pay taxes on it. I want to know how to put my money like Elon Musk and say, you know what, it's there, but it's not there.
Right. All the little secrets.
All the little
the ins and
secrets.
outs and- yeah.
Not that I don't want to pay taxes, but all the little secrets to be like, I'm good for it.
Yeah. How to best manage your money and
Come on.
make the most out of it. No,
Did I answer your question?
Yeah.
It's Monday. He looks like he's tired. He's like, I'm
good.
a mom,
relaxed.
so my peripheral see this silent yawn like, lady, hurry up.
No, I'm so relaxed right now. Y'all don't get, because I started thinking about the money. I started thinking about when I was at KVCC. I started thinking about my counselor. So I just really been thinking like.
Did you get the support that you needed at Valley?
No.
You did not.
No, but that's a whole nother conversation.
Did you? So here's the thing. At Kalamazoo Valley, we have SDS. So I always say, if you don't get what you need at Valley, you didn't do something. So it's follow through, right? Did you follow through?
Look.
Okay.
I didn't talk, like, I was trying to talk to my counselor, and it was like, and talk to people up here at the Promise, and they was like, you didn't talk to the Promise person at KVCC. I'm like, I didn't even know they had one. Like, nobody reached out to me. Because I'm like.
That's not true.
I promise I didn't get reached out. At least
I'm going to pull a receipt.
Anything
Just stop.
on my email. No, because I think they said her name was Beth.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, she was mine, and I didn't talk to her.
I'm gonna pull some receipts on you. So check your email, college students. I'm gonna look in my camera right now. Check your email, because one thing we do, like y'all have that award roster here. Soon as somebody pops us on an award roster, email automatically goes out to their KVCC account.
I never met
when
her.
And it says, hey, we're here. We do progress reports twice a semester, and so
I ain't get that.
you're pull the receipt.
This is recorded.
Listen. Make him pull up his portal notes, and he'll
Right,
see
Like,
everything.
I don't even remember how to
No, I
log
remember
in.
when you emailed me and I forgot to respond.
Because Dr. Parker.
That was for my transfer to Western.
No.
You helped me.
Listen,
You helped me
Dr.
personally.
Parker came and said, look, sis, and she had me right here, right? The Honorable Dr. Parker had my neck, like, my son is there, and y'all not taking care of my son. I'm like, that's not true. Oh, yes, it is. I said, I got you.
She pulled up the receipts, though. I did
pulled
not
up
respond
all
to that email.
the
I
receipts.
sure didn't respond to that. I read it, though. I thought I responded in my head, but I forgot to respond.
Well, I think students like you are independent. You're coming out of COVID. You're coming out of self-learning, right? You watch the screen. So when we're asking you to engage, to our point about engagement, you weren't used to. In your head, you did it, but it wasn't 2K where you actually pressed the button.
Yeah, I didn't really know that because I was just going up there. It's like, I'm independent. Let me just go talk to my counselor, figure out what I need in my classes. And I didn't know it was a whole nother services that they was going to help me through.
But
so
now you know,
me.
and you're going to spread that word, right?
Of course.
Come see us.
Mm-hmm.
No, I get that because this is a prime example of how
It can happen.
Most students, because I did the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, I didn't know there were services at Valley, at Western. I was like, and I didn't get no email. I did. I kept swiping. I was like, I just didn't pay attention to it.
Listen, I purposely put tracking receipts in place. Well, one, to help you. Like, we got progress reports. Come talk to us so we can talk to your professor. Two, I want to know if you're here. So I got receipts if you when you registered, if you drop, when you don't go to class. I got all of that. And I have my coordinator who's like, hey, dear Promise Scholar. And you're probably looking at that email like spam. You know what I'm saying?
I think it says KVCC at the top. So and KVCC send us so many emails.
Read your emails. So what? Read your emails. He's yawning too. I talk too much,
tough.
y'all.
No, I'm just saying, like, it's tough for students. Like, I get it. I mean, I'm going to school now for my master's, and I just like I look at the emails. And I'm like, yeah. So,
but it's not as much as undergraduate.
It's not nearly as much. Before it was like you got emails for everything. Like,
now it's your assignment due, and if you don't, you hit,
and that's it. Like, I actually pay attention to the emails that I get now, but it's one of those learning things that we've learned, like at the Promise, and like you said at the Promise Services at Valley. Like, we look at those things and see, okay, are students engaging with this? Do we need to change the way that we engage with students? And we've done, like, social media, TikTok, all those different things, because not everybody's checking their email, and people are just missing that. Oh, there are these resources, there are these services, and they're just not getting to them.
But when the lights dim and you in the bed by yourself at 2 a.m. and your mind is coming down, you scrolling. And guess what come up? Kalamazoo Promise Services at Kalamazoo Valley. And this is what we're doing this week. Today we have Get It Done. So let me plug that.
Yeah, I'm going at 4. I'm taking a scholar there. At 4.
Yes, bring the scholars to Get It Done. This is a one-stop shop where we are getting students ready for fall. You could do your testing. You can get everything done. So today it's at Texas Township from 2 to 6 p.m. And then next week is that the August 7th, next Wednesday? I think so.
It's going to be food.
Sounds right.
It's going to be some cookies.
And see, this is what students say.
This
is what students care about.
Who all going to be there?
We not going if it's not going to be food.
Let me tell you something. Like, under y'all budget, I could do that kind of stuff. We could ball out. We do all things food when it's Promise related, but community related. You're gonna get some fresh baked cookies and some flavored water.
Oh, fresh baked though.
Yeah.
Oh, there it is.
Yeah.
All right, so we're getting short on time.
Okay.
You want to go number 9?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I think
you're smiling. What's number 9?
We'll wrap up with that one.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Number 9. I think we should go 9 and 10.
Okay.
Oh, God.
Let's go for it.
Number 9 is, if the Kalamazoo Promise had been available to you, how might it have changed your life?
Thank God for the Biden administration, who wiped away 187,000 of my student loan debt, right? I think it would have made a huge difference because, back then when you didn't do good financial aid wise, that was it. And now the Promise could kick in, and it's like, we're going to give you another chance. It is a form of tuition, which back then I qualified for the FAFSA, but it would have been nice to have Promise paying and keep my FAFSA where I didn't have to take out the loan. So,
do you think you still would have gone to Georgia?
I think I would have been out. Me personally, like I told my son, yes, I was at Freaknik, mind your business. I'm 95. I was an athlete, so I wasn't like that, but I was in the culture. So, I would not change that experience, the Georgia experience, traveling through. That was my first Black professor. I had maybe 2 Black teachers in KPS. So to go on a campus and Black folks is doctor, that was amazing. I had Dr. Payton at Central, but doctor, that was doing a thing that gave me an encouragement. So I don't think, probably it would have been beneficial once I left Savannah State due to, financial issues there when I came back, to be able to utilize the Promise and not accumulate that debt.
That's nice. That's great. You want to say?
Yeah. So if you had a golden nugget of wisdom that you wanted to share with someone who was aspiring to follow in your footsteps, what would that gold nugget of wisdom be?
Live in your truth. It's hard for us that identity piece is tough, but I think who I am, and everybody might not like you, and you're going to bump heads because everybody might not see your vision, but when you're true to it and you do the work, and my sole purpose of being on this earth is to serve. And I think people see that. They don't see the smile in my face, but they know my heart. And once you could get past that, and instead of try to compete with people, I think you'll be better. So my golden nugget is to stand in your truth, delayed, not denied, and just keep pushing. Like, even when you don't feel like it, keep pushing, because even billionaires go through things. They have heartaches, they cry, they get stomach aches just like us. But live in your truth and don't let nobody stop you, and surround yourself around people that have your best interests. If you tell somebody something, they're like, girl, or whatever, like, nope, that ain't it, and then don't be discouraged, and learn how to keep stuff to yourself. Sometimes it's not cool for you to share what you want right now, because it's your journey. It's not, I might not be ready to receive it. So,
and that's perfect how you said going by the heart, because like when I first met you, I knew you had already knew me my whole life, but it felt like she was like a second mom figure. She was like, no, I sent you that email. Like, she kind of like, it was like a different type of comforting feeling.
Don't even try and play that.
No, for real. But I'm saying, like how she said, leading by the heart, people know you like genuinely. So it's like just having that connection no matter what. Like, we probably have had a few conversations, but it's like I already feel like I could call her if something.
And you can. All of y'all can call me. I'll bake you cookies and give you sofrito chicken and pasteles.
Okay. I don't know what that means, but that sounds good. Sounds good.
Well, I appreciate the opportunity that y'all invited me. I was like, the podcast folks, I've arrived at the promise. Like, he opened the door and he hugged me. Like, thank you. Well, I appreciate this. I appreciate our partnership as well. This has been a beautiful opportunity and learning opportunity, and to see my son be able to benefit from this as well, even though he's taking his time, right? And so
that's okay.
Yeah. But thank y'all.
It's gonna
get done.
Ramari,
it's gonna get done.
Yes, I can close this out with the quote. Our closing encouragement is, you have a story to tell and people need to hear it. Be confident and know you have everything you need to make an impact.
Y'all say bye to the people.